Hello everyone and welcome back to Animation Pilgrimage, where we watch every single theatrically released film in chronological order. But today we're not watching any films, we watched
some TV shows!
A bunch of random American-specifically TV shows.
Yeah!
I'm Sean.
And I'm Tennille.
And we're looking at 1960s television. Just a really, really brief look at some of the more popular shows that are out at the time.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because when we started Animation Pilgrimage, I knew that it's like, well, animation's not just like the important things only happen in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that's not what animation is. It's not just films. And even then, like, there's some things that we just can't cover that are going to be influential. But before, this segment was like shorts. We do a segment about shorts every decade.
Mm-hmm. But
so now
shorts aren't really a thing anymore.
Yeah, TV has killed the theatrical short, more or less. So now we have TV shows. And going from shorts to TV shows is a whole different ball of wax. Because it's built with a
completely different mindset.
Right. Like, TV shows have to be created quickly. You have to create a lot of them as quick as you can. It's
a lot of raw content as compared to one concise, thought out, carefully relatively well crafted thing.
I mean, the theatrical shorts ran into sometimes a lot of the same similar issues, where it's like they were creating so many of them and they had to like sell them to all these theaters. But now they're selling them all to these networks, and now these networks need like 60 to 100 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, I mean, it's similar, but it's different, and it's interesting. So, okay, the four TV shows we watched, and there's honestly a whole lot more we could cover, but these are the ones I felt gave us a good idea of what the decade was about.
Mm-hmm. And remember, this is just American shows, and these are just a tiny, tiny glance
of 60s TV.
Mm-hmm.
We took a look at Jonny Quest, the Flintstones, Underdog, and Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Okay.
So, which one do we want to start with?
I don't know. Should we start with one of the ones that most people know?
Yeah, let's start with either the Flintstones. Let's start with the Flintstones.
Yeah.
Because I think that's probably still the most iconic show from this time period.
Yeah. Because, like, I guarantee that many of our audience members don't know at least one of those shows that we mentioned.
Oh, probably.
But I can also almost guarantee that
everybody knows the Flintstones.
At least heard of the Flintstones.
Because even if you've never seen any Flintstones media, you see the cereal box every time you go into a Walmart or
Fruity Pebbles or Cocoa Pebbles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just a breakfast cereal, kids. It was once a TV show that promoted violence. And cigarettes.
Spousal abuse.
Yay.
Well, okay.
Okay, yeah. So, we only watched 2 episodes of this show.
Because, okay, in the future, I would like for us to watch more of the TV shows. Here, we only watched 1 or 2 episodes of these TV shows, because we took a look at 4 different TV shows, and for 60s TV, I feel fairly confident in saying that once you've seen one, you kind of have seen them all.
Mm-hmm. Sure, there might be better or worse episodes out there, but these are shows that didn't really
change or evolve,
progress a whole lot.
Yeah.
Even if there's like a continuous story, there's not a whole lot of development of characters.
Right, and a lot of these shows were made like in the time period of just a few years, and the studio pumped out like 200 episodes or something like that.
Yeah.
And so like in that time, there's not a whole lot of time for the show to evolve.
Mm-hmm. So,
but anyway.
Flintstones. It tells the story of Fred Flintstone and his wife, Velma?
And his wife. Huh? Sure.
Wilma?
Wilma.
Is that... Oh...
We're already...
And his
We're already in trouble.
His neighbor, Barney Rubble, and his wife, Betty.
Betty.
I was going to say, I'm not even going to try, but I was like, wait, no, it's Betty.
Yeah.
I know this one.
Yeah.
And that's all it was at the start.
Yeah.
In the first episode, they don't have kids yet.
Or at least they're not on screen.
No, they don't have kids yet.
Yeah.
Eventually, throughout the course of the show, they would both have a child. Pebbles is the Flintstone.
Fred and Wilma's.
Fred and Wilma's little girl. And Bam Bam.
Yeah.
Is the name.
Bam Bam Pebbles.
Bam Bam Rubble.
Rubble, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Pebbles is the girl. What?
Yeah.
Dang it.
And they also get like Dino the dinosaur dog. They're a bunch of cavemen living in quote unquote dinosaur times, but the whole point of the show is it's a parody of quote unquote modern day America. Except
it's a parody of the family sitcom.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Oh, is there a specific show that it's parodying?
Yes, specifically it is a parody of the Honeymooners.
Okay.
So much so to the point that the creator of the Honeymooners almost sued Hanna-Barbera for the Flintstones. But then later decided not to because he's like, I didn't want to be the guy who took Fred Flintstone off the air. So...
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never seen the Honeymooners, so I'll just take your word for it.
Honeymooners is where the famous line of, one of these days, Alice, bam, whack, straight to the moon, comes from.
Okay.
You know, they make fun of it in Futurama.
And everything.
Yeah.
Sure. I believe you. I will say, we watched the first episode and then another episode way down the line, like season 3 or 4 or something.
Right.
Specifically just to see how the show did evolve.
Right, because you could tell, so from the episode we watched, like, it's very rough. It doesn't even feel like the Flintstones because it's doing this whole, like, oh no, the guys are in trouble and trying to lie their way around their wives kind of thing, which I think...
So they want to go bowling.
Yeah, which I think was a thing, like, that sometimes happened in the Flintstones, but I feel like more often than not it was more wacky hijinks with the family, was a bit more wholesome than that.
Oh, I guarantee it got more wholesome because the show got more popular, so the studio was like, we need to tone down these angry, spiteful characters so that more people will be interested in it, making the show consistently more wholesome and family friendly and less interesting as a whole.
I don't know if I would say less interesting, but sure.
It wasn't super interesting to begin with.
No, but it is weird how...
The start of it is Fred Flintstone is like an angry man.
Yeah.
And violent towards his neighbor a lot. And a lot of the humor from this first episode comes...
You're very stereotypical, like, cartoon
people hitting each other with hammers and...
On the head, yeah.
And, like, physical violence.
Also, the show has a laugh track. I did not remember that it had a laugh track, and it's the worst thing ever.
So distracting.
I hate it.
Why is this a thing?
Because some of these jokes I might have laughed at if it weren't for the fact that there was a laugh track there. That laugh track just immediately kills my mood.
And this probably just stems from us growing up with kids' television shows that have laugh tracks that
were so obnoxious.
So obnoxious and so very, very much so trying to make you laugh that it just made you uncomfortable and never want to laugh. So anything with a laugh track now just kind of spoils the mood for us.
So it feels so disingenuous you can taste it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you... I think with, like, our generation growing up with so many things with laugh tracks and stuff, it just spoiled it for us, where it's like...
I don't believe you.
It's like with marketing, how marketing has to keep changing because people notice the manipulation of the marketing, and so it doesn't work on them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's what laugh tracks did to us.
Yeah, it's like, oh, laugh tracks means this is supposed to be funny, but it's not, so there's no reason to laugh here.
Yeah.
It's just what it's hardwired into our brains that's what it means now.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, yeah, it's so interesting that something that started off as a parody of something
is now monumentally more popular.
Yeah, more popular, more well-known, but also I feel like this is the... Like, you're kind of doomed to fall into this trap if you start off as a parody of something, is that eventually it stops becoming a joke and you just become the thing that you were making fun of.
Yep.
Like, it's something... Like, the only way to not become that is to stop. And the Flintstones did not stop.
It's like, if you are a parody, you can only parody something for...
So
long, and then you need to stop, otherwise you just stop becoming the parody and you are the thing you were once making fun of.
Mm-hmm.
And you see this all the time.
In the Flintstones case, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because, like, I mean, I know we only watched 2 episodes, but the first episode we watched was not something that was, like, anything I would be interested in seeing again. But when we skipped ahead to a way later season, like season 3 or 4 or whatever, that is something, laugh track aside, I think I would be a little bit more interested in watching more of, because there's more, like, creativity going on with the surroundings.
The jokes more so came from the fact that they're trying to think of weird, kooky ways to use the prehistoric universe that they set up. It's not just modern day, except everything's made out of rock. It's, no, we're going to find a funny way to emulate a radio.
Right.
Where someone talks into a radio, and then a bird flies out of the radio, flies to the other person's radio, lands in it, and yells at the guy.
You're right. And, like, that's how walkie-talkie works.
That's the joke.
And it's like, that's clever. I like that. That's fun. The first episode, not so much. But it's so interesting to see how that changed. Like, this is going to be the one TV show from this time period that was on long enough to have a significant change in what it did and what it was trying to do for an episode.
Baffling.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
So,
and I bring up this show was so long running because this was actually the longest running and the top rated, the highest rated, thank you, the highest rated animated show until The Simpsons finally beat it out in 1996.
Wow.
So not even in, like, Simpsons prime.
No, because The Simpsons had to keep going before it was running longer.
Right.
And I mean, The Simpsons is still running, so there's nothing...
The Simpsons has blown that out of the water at this point.
Yeah, there is nothing else that can beat out The Simpsons and how long an animated show is run. Yeah. Or really any show, for that matter.
Yeah, well, so far as you don't include, like, soap operas and such.
Where they have a new episode every day, 5 days a week or something.
Mm-hmm. And have been running since the literal 70s.
Yeah. Okay. Animated shows aside.
Soap operas aside.
Soap operas aside, I think The Simpsons is beat out literally everything else.
It's certainly one of the longest running television shows ever. But the Flintstones was first.
So if you want some generic, wholesome-ish, mostly, Stone Age fun. Sure, check out the Flintstones.
Well, but that's the thing, is like I don't feel like anyone needs to check out the Flintstones. It certainly does have its own like creative vibes to check it out for that makes it refreshing to come back to. Like the jokes centered around its premise.
Yeah.
Are the best things to come from it.
Maybe skip like the first season or so.
Yeah, check it out.
Let it once it gets into its groove.
Yeah, check it out when it's at that point. I think it'd be more fun to see a Flintstones reboot nowadays, but I feel like it would be done for the wrong reasons. Like, I feel like it would try to be the next, like, Family Guy or Simpsons or one of those kinds of shows.
And just try to be the new, quote-unquote, adult edgelord family comedy show.
Yeah. Whereas I think it'd be better off if it was just, like, making stupid jokes like it did in the past.
Yeah, just continue to be that. Yeah. Just, there's new technology today that they can make fun of.
Yeah.
That's what they should be doing.
Not that I think that anyone would really be super into that, because we already have so many things that make fun of technology. But that's what I would do with the Flintstones reboot, I guess.
I would probably never greenlight it.
No, I wouldn't either.
I hope us mentioning it here does not give any...
Don't give any producer an ideas.
Yeah, whoever has the rights to Hanna-Barbera's properties at this point. I don't even know who it is.
Hanna-Barbera still.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
They're still around?
Well, the company.
Sort of?
The company.
Okay, and they're just profiting off of nostalgia.
I mean, they're still making stuff.
They are?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think.
I didn't know that.
I mean, yeah. Hanna-Barbera is like a huge, huge company.
Okay.
They made cartoons when we were kids.
Anyways, let's move on.
Sean is like, what? Okay.
What up next? More cartoon?
Well, I'd say that the other big contender for this decade is Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Okay. This is a show I never watched before. Do you know how much Rocky and Bullwinkle I had ingested before we watched a couple episodes for this season, for this episode?
Nothing? The movie?
The 3D
live
action Rocky and Bullwinkle movie.
But it's so bad.
Yeah. It was really bad. Why do you think I never felt interested in continuing to seek out Rocky and Bullwinkle? Besides the fact that it was a TV show from like the literal 60s that I didn't care about stuff from back then.
I saw reruns of Rocky and Bullwinkle every once in a while at my cousin's house. And my parents are a little older than yours, so they actually grew up with Rocky and Bullwinkle. So I actually knew quite a bit of catchphrases of theirs out of context. But, like, I would not say I'm super familiar with Rocky and Bullwinkle. However, I'm a bit more familiar with it than I am Flintstones.
Okay. I'm actually more familiar with the Flintstones. Just because I know I've seen a few shows on Boomerang and stuff like that. But never Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Rocky and Bullwinkle's fun. It's stupid. It's extremely fast-paced for the decade.
I was shocked at how fast this show went.
Yeah.
It's just like, we have a narrator that is just going at like the speed of sound. Just like, this is what's happening, and now we're going to do this thing. And then, because we got to set up all this weird convoluted plot that just to set up like 2 or 3 silly jokes, and then we're going to move on to a completely different segment. We're going to do Rapunzel. We're going to do Rapunzel right now. We're just going to tell the whole story except throw in a couple of silly jokes. And all right, now we're back to the Rocky and Bullwinkle thing. We throw in some like transition jokes that are real dumb. But then we're getting back to the main plot that we told you to stay tuned for. And we're going to do a little bit more jokes after we retell you what happened in the same episode. And now we're going to tell you to stay tuned next week for the next episode where we continue the plot.
And we're going to leave on a cliffhanger every single time.
Every single time. And I was like, whoa. I wasn't expecting this.
It's kind of a wild ride. But not in a fantastic way. It's so fast-paced that by the time that the short ends, you're like, wait, what happened? Did that just end?
Yeah. It's very much so centered around the mentality of we need them to tune in next time. Mm-hmm. And to do that, we're not necessarily going to try to be super charming or charismatic. We're going to try to do that, but more than anything, it feels like they're just trying to grip you and keep you in some level of suspense as to what's gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why you need to keep watching.
Oh yeah, the show's very much built on the cliffhanger. Mm-hmm. Which is both a good, like, it's interesting but very irritating at the same time. Because it's like, I don't actually really care, but damn it, you left it on a cliffhanger!
I don't care. But
it's very unsatisfying to watch, is what I would say.
Yeah. I guess we never described who these characters are. Rocky...
Sorry, I just assume everyone would know who Rocky and Bullwinkle are.
Rocky is a flying squirrel. Mm-hmm. And...
He's your kind of kid character.
Yeah, he's like, golly gee, we're cool and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then we got Bullwinkle, who is a moose, and he's got like 3 brain cells. And that's his character. He's just
3 whole brain cells to rub together.
He's the dummy character that you're supposed to laugh at.
Well, yeah, but he's also supposed to be like, he's often always like a renowned scientist or something like that as part of the joke or something.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's still a character that's like, you know, I don't know how I feel about laughing at this guy. Mm-hmm. And then they got like a couple of Russian spies that are there that are always trying to take them out for...
Natasha and Boris.
Yes, those two. Trying to take them out for random reasons that are based on whatever the plot is. That's Rocky and Bullwinkle, I guess.
Yeah. But Rocky and Bullwinkle also, like, Rocky and Bullwinkle had 3 stellar shows to go along with it.
Oh crap, that's right. There was another show inside this one as well that I completely blanked out on. Mm-hmm. Peabody and Sherman.
Yeah, Peabody and Sherman.
Or Mr. Peabody and Sherman. Mm-hmm. I don't know. There's a recent movie...
Peabody's Improbable History.
Mm-hmm. There's a recent show that is the only reason most people probably know about this, from DreamWorks?
Yeah, DreamWorks recently made a movie.
About Peabody and Sherman. Mm-hmm. He's a white dog that's a super scientist, and he makes a Wayback Machine, aka a time machine. He has an adopted son who is a human child, and they go back in time and...
mess around with stuff.
Mess around with various...
It's a very simple concept.
Mess around with various historical figures and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. But the chemistry between... Or not chemistry, I guess the characterization of Mr. Peabody and Sherman is, like, really charming. I like that aspect of it. I like these characters. But they also, and we didn't see a segment that had this, they also have Dudley Do-Right. Do you know who Dudley Do-Right is?
I've seen the live-action movie.
No! Why?
Because, Tennille...
Why have you only invested the worst part of these?
Well, I don't know. Maybe because I didn't have a choice in the matter. I was a child.
For shame on your childhood.
It was my parents that chose the movie to watch.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah. He's a... Canadian
Mountie.
Mountie, and... things happen to him.
Things happen to him.
I couldn't even tell you any characterization.
Okay. But yeah, we didn't see any segments with Dudley Do-Right. I do find it funny and very appropriate that the only one of these to get an adaptation that did well at all is the one that was animated.
What? Oh,
to get an adaptation, yeah.
Okay, yes, I get what you mean. Oh, well, you're right, because there's
an adaptation of all 3 of these shows,
And,
The
wow.
only one to work was the animated one, which, you know, is like...
Shock and surprise.
Duh! Maybe that's because these shows really work well in an animated format. And it really doesn't work all that well when you try to transition that into live action.
Shocking.
Uh-huh.
Alright, let's round out the, heavy, cartoonish characters with Underdog.
Alright, sure.
Because the other show is
Something completely different.
very different and is like an introduction to a new kind of show.
Yeah.
But Underdog, I gotta say, Underdog is the hero that we deserve today. This year of 2019, when people are so sick to death of superheroes, and I mean, we could have used this character like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's like the superhero genre is still going so egregiously strong that I think Underdog would do very well with a reboot right now. Because
the thing is, though, is that even superhero parodies are getting kind of tiring.
Oh, yeah.
But, go on.
Underdog is the story of a dog,
Shoeshine Boy,
who does the Superman thing by going into a telephone booth and transforms into Underdog. And he talks in rhyme the whole time. And he flies around and he saves the day, but he's kind of a bumbling idiot and he usually wrecks literally everything around him.
Is that a bird? A plane? A frog?
Not a bird, nor plane, nor even a frog. It's just little old me, Underdog. He only said it like 17 times.
But you remember.
Sort of. But honestly, that's his like one joke and it's kind of entertaining, and there's like only one other anthropomorphic dog person, and of course it's a girl that is a reporter and he saves her.
Did you catch what her name was?
Probably. I don't remember what it is though.
Polly Purebred.
Okay.
Alright.
Cool. But everybody else in this universe is human. So it's just kind of weird.
Yeah. This also had a live action remake not that long ago. In like 2005 or 2007.
I remember watching that one and it had nothing to do with this concept.
Oh no, no.
The concept was, we're gonna make a superhero dog from a real dog. But like, he's not gonna be a bumbling fool and wreck things.
No. No. It's like they only remembered the title of the show and they're like, yeah, let's do that. People will buy this nostalgia and stuff. And yeah.
It's one of those in-name only adaptations.
Although none of the episodes we watched had this, but another main feature of the Underdog show was that Underdog used to, sometimes when he was down on his luck even more so than he normally is, he would take pills that would give him superpowers. And then that later got censored out of the out of the episodes for future reruns.
Whoa!
Whoopsies!
Whoopsie doodle. I need my powers, man.
However, Underdog is not all fun and games, though, because...
Oh, no.
Oh, no, because it also has a couple of other TV shows that went along, or like segments
in it, and I had never heard of these, and I think I have a pretty good idea why.
The sad thing is I have heard of these, but I never seen it. I've heard my parents talk about this show before.
Oh, no.
Like, sing the theme song, but I had no idea what it was from.
Oh, your parents probably really enjoyed these characters, didn't they?
I don't know.
Okay.
They at least remembered it. I mean, it was something from their childhood.
Okay, I guess that's fair. All right, so the first one, I can't even remember any of these characters' names. I was in too much shock. But we have two...
I was shook.
Two Native American beavers.
Uh-huh. The show is called Go Go Gophers, by the way.
Go Go Gophers.
Mm-hmm.
So gophers, not beavers.
Yes.
Two Native American beavers.
Gophers.
Gophers. I just did. And they're fighting against two,
I think they're muskrats?
muskrats, or I was going to say like
Or no, they're
wolves?
coyotes. They're coyotes, yeah.
Two coyotes in the American Army.
Mm-hmm.
From back in the Western days.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my god.
That gets a yikes from me, dog.
Lots of yikeses from me. One of the two...
So the basic premise is that the two Native Americans are constantly
pulling pranks.
Pulling pranks and humiliating the army.
Mm-hmm.
The big problem is that not only are these Native American stereotypes huge stereotypes, they also speak complete stereotypical gibberish.
Mm-hmm.
And
one of them literally can't speak, and the other one just talks with the most racist Native American speaking terms.
Accent, yeah.
I'm not even going to pretend to try to emulate that, because that's not okay.
No. Sean and I just kind of both...
I was like,
oh, God.
What are we watching?
I was not raised to take this in.
Mm-hmm. And of course, they always refer to them as Indians.
Mm-hmm. Well, of course.
Which was
that was the term at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like any of it.
But yeah.
I mean, the show is just wacky hijinks, but like the framing device is bad.
Oh yeah, extremely.
I think there's a reason they've never attempted to bring this one back.
Yeah, no, I don't think that one would fly.
Mm-hmm.
But finally, last on our list was Jonny Quest.
No, there was another segment there.
Oh, right.
We're not ready for Jonny Quest yet. We don't deserve Jonny Quest yet, okay?
Okay. I'm just trying to move the conversation along.
No.
Continue.
I don't remember this guy's name.
Mm-hmm.
But it follows a posh British explorer man as he goes throughout all of the uncivilized parts of the world. And through his daring adventures and amazing wit, he bests all of the non-white
Savages.
Savages.
They
and
specifically
locals.
say savages.
And when he saves them from certain doom, they worship him. And I hate this.
Can we go on to Jonny Quest now?
It was so bad. I'm shocked this ever was allowed. I know it's the 60s, but come on.
Are you though? I'm not shocked. I'm just disappointed.
Oh, it was horrible. Okay, we can move on.
All right.
Let's talk about Jonny Quest.
Yeah.
I'm going to preface saying we only watched one episode. This is not because we thought it was bad. No, in fact, I thought this was quite enjoyable. But I'm just saying, if there are questionable things in this show...
Which there probably are.
There probably are, because again, it's the 60s. We didn't see any of it because we only saw the one.
But, I just gotta say, I was fairly impressed with this. Like, I thought... I hate the word cringe in the culture today, like on the internet and stuff, but I thought this was going to be pretty cringe. And it wasn't. Like, it was nice. I did keep expecting for there to be like some out of character moment where someone makes fun of what's going on, and that's just because I've seen this show parodied
a million
so
times.
often that I cannot take it seriously.
This is a show that everyone has parodied 1,000 times in today's culture because everyone grew up with it and they think it's fun to make fun of it.
Which it is. It's so fun. Sean and I were doing it while watching the episode.
Okay, Jonny Quest is one of those shows that's highly stylized, but there's next to no movement. And other shows that could easily fit into this category are like, I'm going to say like the original Star Trek show. They have this look about them.
Well, I mean, it's any show where the creative team takes realistic proportions over cartoonish movement.
Yes.
If you value like more realistic looking character designs, unless you've got a fantastic budget from your network, you know, good for you. But like you're going to have limited frames.
So the show is like an episodic mystery adventure-y show where we follow Jonny Quest, who is a small boy, and his two dads. I know they're not both his dad, but the one is his literal dad and the other one is his mentor, bodyguard, actual dad.
His other dad.
His other dad.
His other dad.
His other dad. This guy's name is Dash? I don't remember. They had the...
Race? Dash?
Race. It was Race.
Is it Race?
It was Race.
What a weird name. What a weird nickname.
Yeah.
Anyway.
They also have this dog named...
Bandit.
Bandit, because he's got a bandit mask on his face. The dog was obnoxious.
Dog was very obnoxious, and me being a dog person, I'm just like, there's no way that this pug that has a smashed face could be running around and doing all this crap.
There was also... And of course there's Dr. Quest himself, who is super scientist, man.
Yeah.
And I know eventually the show also introduces a young Indian boy, and I can't think of his name. And actually Indian, not Native American.
Yeah. I don't know. The episode we watched didn't have him in it, so...
Yeah, he wasn't introduced yet, so I'm going to make literal no comments on it. Because I don't know how they handle him.
Yeah.
Okay? All right.
All right.
Other than that, the episode we watched is like the very first one. It's all about lasers. And there was an actual explanation of how lasers work.
Which I was shook down to my core. I'm like, why are they explaining lasers to us? And Sean just turns to me. He's like, it's the 60s. And I'm like,
it's a new concept.
Huh. I guess you're right.
Lasers are a new concept. The new things from the 60s include space, lasers, and like aliens and stuff.
Right, but it's just one of those things that like...
you don't think about today. It's like, no, it's just...
You wouldn't explain what a laser is to a child. Like, every child knows what a laser is.
Even if they don't know, like, the specifics of how it works, you know what a laser is. It's a high energy beam thing that pew-pews and, like, blasts through solid metal and stuff. But no, it's like, no, we gotta explain what a laser is.
Right.
I mean, that being said, these lasers don't work like real lasers at all.
Do lasers ever work like real lasers?
No. I mean, that's the thing. In this episode, they explain how real lasers work with a representation of a real laser slowly boring a hole through a piece of metal. But then there's like a laser gun cannon thing that they're using to explode ships.
And they defeat it
by reflecting it with a mirror. Because lasers are made of light, and you can reflect light with mirrors, right? I don't think that works with most mirrors, buddy. There are ways to refract and reflect lasers, but not with just your household mirror.
This is one of those first shows I can think of where it's some kind of like it's an action-adventure show where they put a child character in just for the kids to make them feel like they're a part of the adventure. Like, had this show been a movie, or had it been made, you know, like 5-10 years ago, this would have just been about the adult characters.
There wouldn't be the kids or the dog. It's just about...
There might have been the dog.
Okay.
For the kids.
Yeah.
But like, there wouldn't have been the kid.
It would be about Race and Dr. Quest.
Mm-hmm. And whatever they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, they might have had a kid, but the kid wouldn't do anything. He would just be there to give, like, quippy one-liners or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, in this show,
the kid is the main character.
The kid is the main character. He somehow, you know, does most of the action. And, like, most of the, like, wow, we're saved because of the kid. Like, happens because of him doing something or learning something earlier on in the episode or something like that. It's the first, like, self-insert for kids kind of shows we've seen.
This is also just like the first one that has this art style.
Yeah, which, I mean, this wasn't based on a comic.
Okay. I believe it.
Which is interesting because, like, it's very comic style.
Yes.
So it almost feels like it's based off of somebody's artwork, but it's not. You know, it's like it's a team that came up with this. And yeah, that's just, it's interesting. And I thought this was going to look really bad, but it didn't. They actually, like, worked with the limited animation fairly well and even found clever ways to work around it, like, you know, hearing something happening off screen or doing something like landing a punch or something like that off screen, so they don't have to show the contact or anything like that.
With their back turned, so you don't have to do the mouth flap.
Right. And, like, it's stuff that you very easily pick up on nowadays. It's like, oh wow, well, this is really cheap. But, like, knowing what kind of budget they had for this show, you're like, cool,
you know,
good job.
Good job.
Yeah, it's like you made it work with what you had. So I'm impressed, honestly.
Yeah. But again, it just felt like at some point, Race should have just been like, shut up, Johnny.
Right. Because, like, you've seen
Johnny says something really obtuse and obvious, and Race should just like,
duh, kid.
And it's like, no, duh, kid. Don't worry about it. We're going to get out of here. Why do you have to keep talking all the time?
Or just her to be like, wait, when did you get here?
Just like a weird dubbing, like...
Uh-huh. I want it so bad.
Oh, I guarantee this exists.
Oh yeah, there's probably like 1,000 YouTube poops of exactly that kind of content, and I need to look it up. But no, I guess one final thing to say about why I was impressed with how good this TV show looked is that usually you get one of these shows where it's limited animation, and you know it's limited animation, and so at least you would hope that the characters would stay on model, but they don't. But that was not a complaint I had about this show. It actually had really nice line work, really nice backgrounds and colors, and the characters stayed fairly on model. There was only a few really weird frames or...
Specifically of Johnny's face.
Yeah, Johnny's face was probably the most, like, iffy. But, yet again, I'm a bit more forgiving because children are difficult to animate and draw. And he's probably the character that moves around the most, so...
Yeah.
They have to draw him more often. But anyway, I think that's it.
Okay. Yeah, we're only taking a look at the American shows, obviously.
For now.
For now. Future decades.
We might end up going back at some point to do maybe some Japanese cartoons. I'm not sure at this point. We need to look more into it.
We need to look more into it, and you guys have to realize there's a much animation happening that we will not be able to cover
absolutely everything.
And even the TV shows that we do cover is just the smallest fraction of what was available at the time.
Oh yeah, because just of the things we covered, Jonny Quest and the Flintstones were both Hanna-Barbera TV shows. And they were producing like 20 to 30 shows in this decade or something like that.
Yeah, something stupid.
They were growing like crazy. They were doing so many different things. And then we have kind of these more these other shows like Underdog and Rocky and Bullwinkle, which are just like very much products of their time.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some of you might comment this down below. Yes, Scooby-Doo technically starts in 1969, but we will be covering it next decade because it's mostly a staple of the 70s. So
there you go.
I wanted to throw that out there because I could see some people being like, wait a minute, what about Scooby-Doo?
And hey, if you already wrote that comment down earlier in the episode, delete it.
Ha! Gotcha.
Don't edit it, just get it out of there. I'm kidding. Comment whatever you want.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, I know that was very tangent-y kind of episode, but sometimes that happens, especially when we're covering a lot of topics.
Yeah, it's
at once.
4 different TV shows, 2 of which had like 7 different segments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this was a lot.
Mm-hmm. But anyway.
That's it. That's it for realsies.
Oh my god!
Actually, for serious for realsies this time, we've actually done it.
The 60s!
We've finally actually completed the 60s. I don't know how long we've been doing this.
Oh, yeah,
I've lost all concept of time.
We're going to the 70s! And we're never leaving!
Yeah. Oh, God. I honestly am curious, when did our first episode on the 60s come out?
Our first episode on the 60s was Alakazam the Great.
Uh-huh.
On August 24th last year.
August 24th?
Yeah.
But wait. This episode is coming out on the 16th. The 24th is next weekend. We did this for a literal year.
Oh my god.
It took exactly 1 year to cover the 60s. I think that's hilarious. But also, oh my god. Well, I look forward. Well, that was an enjoyable experience. Covering an entire decade in 1 year. Or less. That will never happen again.
Absolutely not.
I think we've already been looking into it, and we're not even getting halfway through the 70s in the next year.
Yeah.
So... Yeah.
So strap in for the 70s, folks. It's going to be a wild ride.
We'll be here for at least 2 years, I'm guaranteeing. So if you're wanting to see the 80s and 90s and the 2000s... Hold on! Sit down, maybe read 20 books, watch all the movies with us, because we're not getting there anytime soon.
Yeah. Let's all learn about the 70s together. It should be fun.
Yeah, I actually know very little about most of these movies.
I mean, I already mentioned before, the 50s, 60s, and 70s are easily my biggest, what happened here kind of period in animation.
That's mainly because Disney was doing very little in this time.
Right. My information very much stems from that Disney pipeline, so...
So what is the rest of the world doing that is not on the Disney studio?
Welcome 70s. We're here to stay. We're here to party. We're here to cry.
If we're partying in the 70s, does this require us to do some sort of psychedelic drugs?
No, depressive drugs.
Okay, I don't know that much about drugs. I don't know what
we missed our chance for that in the 60s.
Oh, right, that was the hippie age.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Now it's time to get sad.
Sad, and is this where hair metal comes from, or is that the 80s?
You're asking me questions I can't answer. Anyway, though, see you guys next time. When you're with the Flintstones, have a yabba dabba do time, a dabba do time, we'll have a gay old time.